That's one thing about being autistic that you turn off. Traffic going by, extraneous noises, people moving. You got no idea how difficult it is not to look at every person who moves. To go, oh, fuck, that hurts. What's that got to do with Bratt Reichman? Well, first of all, I shouldn't be using her name this way, and I shouldn't be using her turmoil this way, or her struggles this way. I should be the real friend that I was trying to be. Now, I'm not going to use Dallas Reichman as an example in this, not for all the things that I did for him, simply because of the fact that, first of all, he's male, and y'all don't care about males. Males aren't supposed to take abuse. If they do, then they're demasculated. So, we're going to talk about Bratt Reichman. She deserved far better than what she fucking got. Far better. Not just out of me, but out of her own friends and family. Who just wanted to throw away a perfectly good human being when she was struggling the most. Instead of having faith in her, they just wanted to tell her every little thing she's doing wrong. And when she was doing good and she thought she was doing good and she was trying to have positive motivation for herself and her family, what do people do? They shit all over it. How do I get her attention? Oftentimes by typing shitty things into those pretty words that she's telling herself to make herself feel better. Those work sometimes somewhat. I'm sure that her and her sister, all three of her brothers, I'm sure they all have a full understanding of the fact that I need to be put somewhere. That I can't take care of myself. That I am not the person that I used to be. Just, they don't understand why. For the same reasons that Dallas is not important. That's why. None of the things that I did for Dallas or that he did for me actually matter. Do they? No. No, they don't. And they shouldn't. Not to her. I do mean that. It shouldn't matter to her what him and I have done to help each other. What should matter to her is whether or not we have been there for her, and I have not. That's not from lack of trying, though. When she disappeared. Well, let's start before she disappeared. When Todd Rust was being a jerk to her all the way back in the day at the fireworks stand. This is my first real recollection of Todd Rust. It was him calling her all these words that you hate me using, right? You guys hate me using these words? Yeah, well, she was maybe 15, 16 at most. And Todd Rust was calling her all those fucking horrible names at the fireworks stand with people standing around. It was a matter of a control issue and berating and belittling a human being because he felt that it was his place to do so as a Christian. The house that I was going to buy in Chapel, Nebraska, there's a specific reason that I was going to buy it. There was a lady named Megan Christie, and she knew Bratt Reichman. She was also willing to sell her house Brenda Dickinson was involved in that. She was the one who was telling me, hey, with your back money, you can buy that house. You can probably get that from Megan Christie for probably about $7,500, I think she was saying. So I went, well, I'll wait till I got some money and I'll approach her about it. And I let Megan Christie know what it was for. I did let her know I was trying to get a place because Bratt Reichman had some issues. See, I had gone to Colorado, but I was there in 2014 and she had disappeared. Nicole Knudsen, that's her sister, got a hold of me to let me know she was missing. And what do I do when people are missing? I start trying to help find them immediately. Am I incorrect? But that's the right thing to do when one of your friends or family members goes missing, right? Well, they were able to find her. Her family wasn't going to go down there and see her, but Todd Rust, that asshole, he gave me some money so that I could go see her. It was just enough for gas. My vehicle was running well, it was gas and oil. But I went to where she was and I did what she wanted to the best of my ability, but they weren't going to allow it. And her family felt that she should stay there. I disagree. That place doesn't breed anything but contempt. When you're guilty, that hurts. It really does. But when you're not guilty, that hurts worse. Hold on a second. Boogers are gross. And it's still chilly out. Very chilly. And that house that I was going to save up that money for and buy, that was because Brittany kept on posting up how terrible things were, how much it sucked, how horrible people were being to her. And I wanted her to be able to have at least one place that was safe. At least a place where she could be safe, at least inside of that house. I thought it would be perfect. I was looking at two different pieces of property. I was looking at that one with Megan Christie. And I was looking at the, set of property in Colorado. I had sent Natalie Bollinger a link to the property that I wanted to get, because that had been a dream for a long time, to have a safe place for those of us who were victimized and cast away. For most of the people out here that are on drugs, most of these addicts, many of them started off with injuries, medication so they didn't feel the pain, but the majority of them, their trauma was their gateway drug. And it isn't right to go tell another victim's stories. At the same time, I need the victimization to stop. I needed someone to be there, to be the hero that I needed as a kid. I still need that person as an adult. I've always tried to be that person as an adult. That second person. The difference between somebody getting bullied long term until it becomes a major issue and a lot of people get to hurt them because it's popular, and it's stopping, is that one person who is there when it's happening saying, hey, this isn't right. Instead of seeing that person get beat up every day and telling them afterwards, hey man, that wasn't right, but nothing I can do about it. You do that every day. Every day you see this happen. Or you decide you're just going to play on the other side of the schoolyard and only face in the direction of the sun. If I don't see it, then it's not my fault. I didn't see it. If people spend as much time helping out the victims within a family as they do helping the predators to get away, like Bratt Reichman, and then he wants to do what many people do. They start talking about the Jesus. All of a sudden they've been saved. They've been saved. They've been saved. Oh, it's cold. That's where religion, separation of church and state comes in. Separation of church and state doesn't mean that churches get to do whatever they want. Matter of fact, it means the opposite. The church does not get to decide whether or not children were molested within its walls. Now that they are required by law to be mandated reporters, if a child tells a preacher that they've been molested, that preacher by law does have to turn that in. By law. The same thing goes with the elderly or disabled adults in at-risk situations, which I definitely am. It's also the situation that Brittany was in. If she's out of it, I'm glad. There's a lot of people now who are getting housing. Unfortunately, what they're not understanding is that I could have helped a lot more if all of my resources weren't being wasted. When I help a man, people don't pay any attention to it. It's no big thing, right? Well, it is actually a very big thing. For a man to even admit that he's got a problem is pretty fucking major. See, a man doesn't get to play on it for sympathy the way that a woman does in our society. But then we take a look at the women, don't we? Oh, well, how good looking is she? If she's really good looking, then she's an addict. If she's not so good looking, she's a junkie. Same thing with the guys. Why do we spend so much time shaming the victim for coming forward by saying things like, you just need to let it go. You just need to forgive and forget. Why don't you move on? Why don't you move somewhere else? And that's all trauma. That's all neglect. All of it from your family. All of it. It is hurtful every time. Like, hey, if you don't help put a stop to this abuse, people know they can get away with it. And many of us out here, it is just us. Well, Todd wasn't willing to go see Brittany. I was. And I've tried all this time to have faith in her as a human being. I've got faith in the fact that she's going to screw up just like everyone else. Just like me. She's going to make mistakes. I made a lot of efforts for Dallas Richmond, and I stuck with him through his addiction. He was able to almost stay sober for a whole week. I was proud of him for that. When I say that I know these people, that I know their families, that I know their character, I also know mine. I also know Brittany's. I know the person that she has been, the friend that she has been to me through all of this. Well, no, it's not a great friend. But like with all of my friends, she expects me to understand her trials and tribulations, and I do, just like I do with her brother, just like I do with her sister Nicole. Just like, well, since forever and a day, I have always stuck up for Coda. He is one of the most annoying little brats, but I love him, you know? He's still a human being to me. Brittany is still a human being to me. And it's not necessarily their pain that draws me to that, it's my own. I know what it's like to be fucking treated like that. I don't have to be on drugs, I'll be treated that way anyway. There's less likely to be services that'll help, and even if I do get those services finally, I am so caught up in bullshit over the situation with Natalie Bollinger and how much hell I went through going to every friend of mine. I want you to take a look over there. That's the direction of Nebraska. That's the direction of Colorado. That's the direction of California. That's the direction of Washington State. I got loved ones in all these places. I've left bodies behind in every one of them places. People committed to the earth because they were killed by a police officer or by negligence because just nobody gives a fuck when you're on the streets. And even our own friends on the streets are going to make every excuse to look the other way. Well, some of my friends from the streets I didn't know from the streets. I knew them from Chapel, Nebraska before they were ever on the streets. That goes for more than one. It wasn't their choices that ended them up on the streets, and it wasn't their choices that ended in addictions. It wasn't their choices. It was their options. Their options for ending pain. What is your option for ending pain? You don't have any real friends or family members, so you have to go to therapy. Right? That's supposed to fix it, and they have you come back every week. They don't make any money unless you come back every week, and I record it. How no matter how much I tell them about the abuse or try to coordinate with my friends, a lot of my friends that I knew in professional capacities are on drugs now or alcohol. Man, that's tough. I was able to coordinate well because I had Starbucks to do it in. The mall was right outside and I could speak openly and freely. And we coordinated. We didn't have to have a organization with a logo and a company sign in a building. No, it was just a matter of getting the right thing done. There were women who showed up on Pearl Street pregnant and damn near naked. Like, all right, what happened here? There's always something. Sorry, I lived in Denver. My husband and I were here for Creek Fest, and that was 3 days ago. He's gone. He left. We got into an argument, and here I be. And whatever situation happens beyond that, you still got to try to get that person out of that situation. By the way, she didn't just have barely any clothes. I mean, by the time that we were able to get help for her, because, I'm at Starbucks, and she was hanging out down at the library. It was still summertime, other than at night when it was cold, and obviously she was afraid of homeless people, so she wasn't talking to them or congregating. Finally, she asked somebody. They told her about one of the churches. And they did help her out pretty quick. And I got to help that lady out just a little bit, not too much. But you're also not supposed to go bragging about it, right? Exactly. I don't say it to brag about it, though. I say it and I show it because it's the truth. It's the truth that's supposed to set us free, right? Not if you don't tell the truth. Not if you won't look at the truth. Not if you won't hear the truth. The truth is your assumptions of others versus who they are not the same. And we've forgotten in this world of texting and internet mayhem that there's actual human beings at the other side of that. And that those human beings are giving you their real life experiences that they're needing help with, and instead we're sent to therapists. Oh, you need therapy. You need therapy. Therapy doesn't stop abuse, dumbasses. Therapy doesn't put those people away so that they can't hurt or kill other people. With Dallas Richmond, he wanted to blame his sister Brittany for the abuse that she's endured. It's her fault, according to him. That she wanted it. How popular is that? How many times do people tell me that? And it's not always you wanted it. Sometimes it's you asked for it, or you asked for this, or, well, y'all have been there. You guys are all well aware by now that why I'm an asshole, it's modeled after the assholes who get heard. What words they use, how do they treat you, how do they talk to you. When your friend, especially if it's a male friend, is telling you about their abuse, you've already drawn the conclusion that no matter what, nobody's ever going to help somebody in a situation like that because you didn't have that help. So you're not going to help them? Is that how you try to sell it to yourself? It depends on who you are. Some people aren't capable of looking away. They go, hey man, I remember what that was like. It's not going to fucking happen on my watch. Then these people go to the folks they considered real friends and real family. A lot of times for us, we're the wallflowers. You tell us about all of your problems, but you won't hear anybody else's. You know, we end up with whoever will accept us. Whoever will pretend to care about us even for just a little while because you want to believe that somebody could or would be family. Now, I didn't try to get that place with Megan Christie, well, not with her, buy it from her, just so that Brittany could have a safe place. There's a lot of people that I know that could use a safe place. Same reason I was trying to look at that property in Colorado. Alright, good. There's some condensation on it. I was making sure that it wasn't the fishy oil stuff. I don't have a way to cook my food, but I'm glad I have it. A lot of food banks, people don't realize the stuff that's there. A lot of it is geared towards people who have a place to cook it or warm it up. When you're homeless, it's pretty universal to get railroaded on everything, and people assume that you have abilities you don't. Like, you know, even if I did have some sort of magic vision like Superman has to warm my stuff up, what are the chances that it would be legal to do it? That's a stupid issue to have. It's not legal for you to cook that here. It's not legal for you to have a fire here. It's not legal for this, and it's not legal for that. You know, if you can survive in Africa in caves over campfires, you can survive as a homeless person in America. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Unless it's Boulder, Colorado, and there are laws against you. Urban camping or trespassing on public property. Sorry, city property and state property it magically becomes. Now, I definitely used Brittany improperly. She never should have had to go through what she went through, and she shouldn't have to relive it. I have to relive my pain every day and how much of it there really is. You know what hurt worse than the abuse? The neglect. People telling me that it was my fault that people hurt me. I chose for them to hurt me. I wanted them to hurt me. It's tough to understand why people would believe that that kind of behavior is okay. It feels horrible. And a lot of people who are victimized, they use that as their excuse to turn away when somebody else needs help. And that itself is also horrible. There was a guy in Brittany's life who decided he was gonna get a hold of me and be mean to me. I didn't know who he was. Turns out it's the father of her kids. I didn't know that. I got to hear all sorts of horrible stuff from her family about who he is and that he's well, Dallas Richmond would basically call anybody that his sister's dated a pedophile just because he's pissed off at his sisters because his dad, he still loves his dad. Kind of like Natalie Bollinger still loved her dad. But that's a horrible reason for me to take the abuse, isn't it? People don't want me to speak out. And a lot of folks who have screamed out many times themselves in the same way that I do, including Bratt Reichman and Dallas and Zach. When they got the help that they needed, or at least temporarily, they stopped screaming. But their help was only temporary, like in most situations, because you jump through the hoops for the empty promises. In the end, you're still going to be out on the streets. Hopefully you get housing, but there's no promise of that, is there? There's people like Robert Barrowcliff. He did the same thing today that Bratt Reichman's baby's daddy did. Wanted to pull the whole you need to be a man thing. You chose this. That's right, I chose to be born with a penis, and therefore everything must be my fault. A lot of people who are addicts, they expect us to forgive them. We don't owe it to anybody to forgive them. And we certainly don't owe anyone an excuse. We do, however, need to take a look at the conditions that people are living in. Look at the reality of the cost of trying to turn in your predators in the United States. Look where it ends you up. Being ostracized and criticized by your family, treated as if you chose it, as if you're a bad person. The picture on this, it's on a Facebook video that I have about bullying her, bullying Bratt Reichman after Natalie's death. And yeah, I still admit to it, of course. I know it kind of mean hateful things to say to get someone's attention. I just wish it wasn't that way. I wish that telling them that there was a problem made them care right then and there. But if they don't care, they don't care. A lot of people are so caught up in their own issues. And then there's a lot of drug addicts that want to use drug addiction as their excuse for doing harmful stuff. And then afterwards, they want to do that. Oh, well, I quit doing drugs, so if I can quit that, you can this and you can that. No, it doesn't work that way. When you're doing that, you're judging someone else based on you. You don't stop to consider how strong somebody has to be to stay away from that crap, especially when everyone around them is getting all fucked up. Not that it matters. When you end up on the streets, you must be that person anyway, huh? Yeah. So we get stuck out here with our predators, and then you might arrest our predators, but then you throw them out here on the streets with us, or you put them in housing right next to us. The same people. And then as messed up as the system is, we don't know if we can trust that person or not, just based on a conviction. And that's horrible too. Because I know some of the things that Bratt Reichman has had to go through, and I don't think that her record shows the hell that she's lived through. Just as my record doesn't show the hell that I've lived through. Just shut up and go to the back of the bus, right? I'm not going to watch you make me eat dinner. Or breakfast, whatever you want to call it. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too, and no victim left behind. I also want to say that includes me and my sister and my niece. It also includes all these people whose stories that I had to tell. I wish that it wasn't necessary, and I hope that they understand why. That it's not a hatred thing, it's that I still have to fear these people and their influence and the things that they do to me and the things they've done to others. I have to worry that the trauma that they have put you through will prevent you from coming forward about them. And then they just get away with it. And they get away with doing things to me as well. Just as they have far too much influence over your family. Well, that influence over your family does affect me as well. I didn't talk about the property I was wanting to get in Colorado too much, because that was supposed to be for a lot of different people. so that homeless people would have a place to put up their tents. But that's not what we get, is it? No, what I got was lied to over and over again. Threatened, harassed, assaulted over and over again. Reached out to all the friends that reached out to me when they needed help. Nicole Nudson's sister disappeared. I helped her find her. When my sister disappeared, I went to find her. When Sarah Rubiolo disappeared, I helped to find her. Same thing with Hannah Pendergrast, although I didn't hardly know them. When Brandon Ratner's brother disappeared, it didn't take 10 minutes to try to help find him. To make a post and get it started. He didn't have to beg me for years to please care. Please. Instead of talking over him when he had a problem the way that he does to me. And talk about how I need to get laid the way that he does. Talk about how I need some female companionship, rather. When Bobby got a hold of me 3 different times to let me know that Alicia Bollinger had disappeared, all 3 times I tried to help find her. It didn't take me 10 minutes. I was out there in the freezing rain, high winds, Rapid City, South Dakota. Happy birthday, Sean. That was my birthday. Day after, rather. That's when I found out at the bus station. Bobby Forrest. I tried to let my friends know what was going on. I thought they were my friends. I hoped they were my friends. I didn't get to get that house from Megan Christie. Brenda Dickinson never spoke up about that. And again, when it comes to the stuff that I've done for men, you guys don't want to hear it. Then it's, why you only help out men? Are you gay or something? Well, so what if I am? What do you think of that? Whether I'm gay or not is arbitrary. That doesn't make it okay to fucking hurt somebody. And that's what people have been doing for all these years. Well, people that I thought were my friends were all too busy. Well, it didn't just rob me, it robbed all of them of what could have been, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?